כל הקהל הקדוש הזה, it's truly an honor and a privilege to be here with this special kehillah and to be able to launch this beautiful program tonight. I have to admit that it felt a bit uncomfortable to leave my wife on her own for Shabbat in order to come here to speak about love and marriage. It didn't feel quite right. Interestingly, she really encouraged me to go. So I guess she was hoping that I'd get some chizuk myself. It reminds me of the man who said he knew that his marriage was in trouble when his wife won. She won in a lottery 2 tickets to Hawaii, and she went twice. B'chol ofen, I'm here on my own, and it's be'emet, kavod, zchut, to be part of this amazing initiative. In the tefillah of Alenu L'Shabeach, we say, Alenu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol. It's incumbent on us, it's our duty. L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol, to praise the Master of all. Shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. Shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot. He hasn't made us like the nations of the other countries. V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. He didn't establish us like the families of the rest of the world. Our mishpachot are different. V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. The havdalah ben Yisrael la'amim, the great divide that exists between Am Yisrael and the nations of the world, is seen perhaps clearer than ever in Chaye Mishpacha, in family life. It's there that the havdalah, the difference, is stark, is so clear to see. Every couple stands under the chuppah, and the Rav, the Mesadeh Kiddushin, he makes a bracha. Baruch Atah Hashem, Mekadesh Amo Yisrael al Yedei Chuppah v'Kiddushin. Mekadesh Amo Yisrael. Through Chuppah v'Kiddushin, through marriage, we build Kedusha. The kesher between Ish and Isha, the connection, the love between a man and his wife is Kedusha. V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama. It's there that we're more different than ever. The Gemara in Masechet Sotah famously says, Darish Rabbi Akiva, Ish ve'isha zachu shchina beineihem. An ish and a isha, a husband and wife, if zachu, if they merit, then the Shekhinah rests between them. And Rashi explains that Hashem Yitbarach, He placed His name in us, on us. But He divided His name between the Ish and the Isha. The Shem Ka, Yud, Hey. The Yud is in the Ish and the Hey is in the Isha. And Ish the Isha, when Zachu, then Shechina Shriya B'neihem, then the Yud and the Hey come together, and there's Ka. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here this evening. And that's why Be'ezrat Hashem, the Tzibur is going to gather over the next 8 weeks to strengthen ourselves in this V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, to revisit, to appreciate once again the beauty and the depth and the power, the unreal power, the kedusha of Mishpachot ha'adama. These weeks, the period of time that we are now in, this Zman in the Shana, is called Yemei HaShovavim, the days of Shovavim. The word Shovavim is an acronym, Rashi Tevot, of the Parshiot that we are now studying, reading, Shmot, Va'era, Bo, B'Shalach, Yitro Mishpatim. And in a Shana Mu'uberet, in a leap year like this year, then 2 more weeks are added, Truma Tetzaveh, and we have Shovavim Tat. And these weeks are a tkufa. They're a time of the year, a time that the great Mekubalim, the great masters of Kabbalah reveal to us, are a time that is particularly Mesugal, is the time that is especially right for tikkunim, for tshuva, for rectifying ourselves, be'ikar, in particular, in the area of kedusha. And the basic understanding of what this means is that during these weeks, we study and we read these parshiot of Geula from Mitzrayim. These are the parshiot when we learn about the Galut first, Am Yisrael suffering in Mitzrayim, and then already from this week, from the second parasha, we're learning about Geula, redemption. But we know, of course, that together with the Geula Gufanit, together with the physical redemption, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim and He saved us from suffering, He saved us from servitude. But together with that, and more than that, Yetziat Mitzrayim was a Geula Ruchanit. On Leil HaSeder, we thank Hashem al Geulatenu va'al pedut nafshenu. Our souls were saved. We were spiritually saved. Because Am Yisrael in Mitzrayim had become affected. They'd become influenced by the culture, by the Egyptian culture. And they'd fallen into Tum'ah. Chazal tell us that they'd fallen ever so low. There are 50 levels of Tum'ah, 50 Sha'arei Tum'ah. And Chazal tell us that Am Yisrael and Mitzrayim had fallen to Mem Tet Sha'arei Tumah. They'd fallen into 49 levels of Tumah. They were almost at the point of no return. And Hashem Yitbarach, Berachamav, He took us out. He lifted us out of that. He took us out of Mitzrayim, and within a few weeks, we were able to stand at Matan Torah, be Mekabel the Torah. We became, within a few weeks, Mamlechet Kohanim V'Go Kadosh. In these few parashiot, Am Yisrael go from the depths, from Mem Tet Sha'arei Tumah, all the way to Mamlechet Kohanim, a kingdom of princes, V'Go Kadosh, and a holy nation. And so, the Arizal, the Shla Kadosh, the great Mekubalim, they revealed that during these weeks, during this tkufa, this time when we read the parashiot of Sefer Shmot, and we read about this Geula Ruchanit, when we relive Am Yisrael going from Sheol Tachtit, from the lowest of the low, all the way to Go Kadosh, B'chol Shana V'Shana, every year, it's a Zman, a time for us to connect to that process. And for us, Kol Echad Ve'echad, in our own lives, to be mitchazek, to strengthen ourselves in being and becoming the Am Kadosh. And for many years, for hundreds of years, it's been the minhag in Kehilot all over the world to dedicate ourselves during these weeks to learning the halachot of Taharat HaMishpacha, because that's Kedusha. Because if our mishpachot, if our families, if our family life is al pi Torah, en lecha kedusha gdola mizo. There's no greater kedusha. So in these weeks, when we work on becoming the Am Kadosh, this is the time to be mitchazek. This is the time to study once again these all-important halachot. And the emet, if I may say so, ashreichem, you're fortunate to have in this wonderful kehillah, avrechim, young men who are dedicating their days and nights to limud Torah and are willing and capable to share their chokhmah and to give these shiurim. The mitzvot, all of the mitzvot, are chukei chayim. They're the laws of life. Every mitzvah that's given to us by HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a way of living right. And of course, we can't ever assume that we understand a mitzvah to its end. These are mitzvot given by God. Just as we can't understand God, we can't understand His ratzon, His will. We can have some insight. We can have perhaps some understanding. But we can never have a comprehensive understanding of a mitzvah. There are mitzvot, though, where the Chachamim gave us some insight. They spoke about the mitzvah and they gave a tam, a reason. I heard once that the word tam in Lashon HaKodesh It means reason, and it also means taste. Because a reason for a mitzvah is just that, it's a taste. It's not all it is. It's a tam. It gives us some tam in the mitzvah. And the Chachamim here, in Hilchot Nida, give us a tam. Tanya. The Gemara says in Masechet Nida, Haya Rabbi Meir Omer. Rabbi Meir said, Mipnei ma amra Torah, Nida l'shiv'ah. Why is there this halacha that an isha, a woman, when she's a nida, she's asura, forbidden, for 7 days? Says Rabbi Meir, mipnei sheragil ba v'katz ba. A man becomes accustomed to his wife. Perhaps familiarity can breed contempt. So, Amrat Torah, teheh tme'ah shiv'a yamim. Let her be tme'ah for 7 days, kedei, so that, sheteheh chaviva al ba'ala, kesha'at knisata lechuppah. When he has her back, after she goes through the process, she keeps all the halachot, and then she's tovelet, she goes to the mikveh, and she comes back to her husband. Then she's chaviva, she's beloved al ba'ala, to her husband. Kisha'at knisata lechuppah. He feels for her the way he felt when she entered the chuppah. And so kipshuto, the basic understanding of this Gemara is that the Chachamim are saying familiarity is no good and absence makes the heart grow fonder. So absence, abstaining for a bit, will keep the marriage alive, will keep it fresh. So the desire, the enjoyment, the experience will remain a novelty. And every month, a man will once again get back to that ahava, that chiba of kesha'at knisata lechuppah. Whilst, of course, that's true, and in fact, many secular marriage experts have pointed to Hilchot Nida as the most remarkable system for keeping a marriage alive. But, im kol zeh, with all that, Chazal are certainly telling us something more, something deeper. It's not just about keeping the pleasure alive. Chazal are telling us that the Torah Kedosha, with these halachot, is guiding us, is pointing us to ahava amitit, to true love, to real love. So let's try b'siyata d'shmaya to understand what this real love is and how we can have it, how we can maintain it. Because if we're honest, and that's the only thing we can be, it isn't always easy to maintain that first love. The romance we began with as Chatan v'Kala, as a young couple, for many people, it's something they look back to. For many of them, back to when you were first married the thrill of just being together. You remember doing a Tesco together, you know? Husband and wife. It's so thrilling. Just going to Tesco together. Just being together and doing the shopping. No, I'll push the trolley. No, I'll push the trolley. Choosing the washing powder, making these decisions. We're building our home together. Beautiful. You know, when you have young couples of your own and they come into the house and you say, what did you do today? And they said, we went to Tesco. And their eyes are alight. You don't know what it's about anymore. A few years later, your wife says, shall we go out this evening? And you say, okay, anywhere interesting to go? Somewhere that can kind of take the focus off us? It's not anymore about being together. It becomes about what we do. They say, the difference between a Chatan and a married man is that when you're a Chatan, so you speak to your Kala on the phone, these phone calls are a big deal. And then afterwards you're lying in bed and you're thinking, what did she say and what did she mean? And why did she pause just then? And did I say the right thing? And then you get married and you fall asleep while she's talking. So, something's happened. What's changed? I saw that Prince Philip, I think here in Gibraltar, I have to say something b'shem the royal family. Prince Philip said that if you see a man opening the car door for his wife, it's either a new wife or a new car. So, something's happened. Something's changed. There was something. There was that romance. And it seems to go, it seems to fade. So what happened? And how do we maintain that love? How do we keep falling and falling and falling in love? To be able to truly love, we need to understand what ahava, what love really is. We all want it. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of books have been written about it. Poems and sonnets have been composed. Everyone's busy with it. But what is it? What is this ahava? Let me share a most mind-blowing Gemara, really. The Gemara says, in Masechet Yuma, Amar Rav Katina. Rav Katina said, B'sha'a shehayu Yisrael olin leregel. When Am Yisrael were olin leregel, on Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, all of Am Yisrael, everyone who could, went to Yerushalayim, to the Bet HaMikdash, and they were there, multitudes of Yidden together. Megalelin lahem et haparochet. They would pull aside the parochet, the curtain that hung in front of the Kodesh HaKodashim. Umarin lahem et hakruvim. And they showed them the kruvim, shehayu meurin ze bazeh. The Kruvim, Chazal tell us, were bidmut, in the image of Zachar and Nekeva, of a male and a female. And they were Me'urim zeh bazeh, they were in an embrace, like a loving couple. And so they pulled back the parochet. And Am Yisrael had a view of the Kodesh HaKodashim, of the Holy of Holies. And there they saw the Kruvim, Zachar and Nekeva, male and female, Me'urim zeh bazeh, in an embrace. And they said to Am Yisrael, V'omrim lahen, Re'u, look, chibatchem lifnei hamakom, kechibat Zachar u'Nekeva. They said, look, your love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you is kechibat Zachar u'Nekeva. It's like the love of a male and a female. This Gemara is nifla beyoter. It's the most wondrous Gemara. Here, the love, the ahava between HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between God and Am Yisrael, is being described as kidmut Zachar u'Nekeva. There's no better mashal. There's nothing in our world that can better symbolize that ahava than Zachar and a Nekeva, a male and a female, a husband and wife in an embrace. Not so long ago, a Chatan came to visit me just a couple of weeks before his Chatunah. And sadly, as is too often the case today, he'd been unfortunately exposed to the world we live in through the internet, through movies. Over the years, he'd seen far too much. He'd seen a world of Zachar u'Nekeva, of male and female, the way they live it, the way they portray it. And he came to talk to me because he was struggling to move over. He'd been learning the halachot. He'd been taught about how to behave, how to live with his wife. And he was asking, he was desperate for someone to sort out his brain, for someone to show him that that's over, and this Zachar and Nekeva, Ish ve'isha, al yedei chuppah ve'kiddushin, is something completely different. So I told him this Gemara, and I said to him, look, if the chiba, the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to Am Yisrael is nimshal, is symbolized by a man and a woman, a husband and wife in an embrace, then it can't be. It can't be that it's anything to do with what they're portraying. There must be something so entirely different. So different, be'etzem, essentially different. If that's the mashal, if that's what symbolizes the ahava of Hashem, then it tells us something about the mashal. So if Chazal, if the Chachamim are telling us that chibat Zachar u'Nekeva, that love is the mashal, that symbolizes the ahava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to us. So let's examine that ahava. Let's understand Hashem's ahava. And then from there, we can begin to understand the ahava of Zachar u'Nekeva. The Maharal in many places, again and again, explains that ahava, the definition of love, of ahava, is chibur. It's connection. It's the connection of two things, two parts, two souls who are really one. It's a chibur of two halves of a whole. Ahava is the same gematria, the same numerical value as echad, as one. 13. Ahava is begematria 13, echad is begematria 13. Ahava is echad. Ahava is the experience of understanding that I'm just a part of a whole, and that the other koach, the other person, the other neshama, is what makes me whole. The ahava, the Maharal explains, the ahava that we have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is simply the result of understanding that we do not exist without Him. If I understand that en od milvado, there's no one besides Him, so who am I? So I'm a nivra, I've been created by Him, I come from Him, I'm returning to Him. On the deepest level, I am Him. The mitzvah in the Torah, v'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levovcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol mo'odecha. It's a remarkable mitzvah, by the way. It sounds like a mitzvah that should be given only to the greatest of the generation. Every Jew is asked to love Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, with all your money. That mitzvah v'ohavta, that comes immediately after Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Because the Maharal says, when I understand that Hashem Echad, that Hashem is one, that en od milvado, there's no one besides Him. So who am I? Where am I? I'm just a part. I'm a part of the whole, and therefore the ahavta. It's not about what He gives me. It's not about what He does to me. It's not about how much I owe Him. All of that helps to get to the ahava. But the essential ahava is simply because I am Him. Because I have no existence, no metziut without Him. And that's why those who have ahavat Hashem are able to love even when things go difficult. Because it's not about what He does. It's about what it is. We are just one. So I may have questions, I may have struggles, but we're one. That exactly is the ahava of Ish and Isha. The Pasuk says, Zeh Sefer Toldot Adam, B'yom bara Elokim Adam. When Elokim created Adam, Bidmut Elokim asa oto. He made him in the image of Elokim. Zachar unekeva Bra'am, Vayevarech otam, Vayikra et shemam Adam b'yom hibara'am. He made them Zachar and Nekeva, and then He called them Adam. Vayikra et shemam Adam. He called them Adam, man. And Rabbi Elazar says from here, Kol Adam she'eino she'en lo isha eino Adam. A person who doesn't have a wife is not an Adam. And in the same way, an Isha without a husband is not an Adam. It's only together that they become an Adam. It's a remarkable thing. The Adam that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, which is B'Tselem Elokim, is only Ish ve'Isha together. An Ish and Isha, a man and a wife, on every level, or mashlim, they complement each other. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. It's only together that they're Tselem Elokim. And that's the Ahava. The Ahava is the understanding that we are one. That without you, I'm half a man. There's a very famous story told. All the books on Shalom Bayit bring it. About the great tzaddik of Yerushalayim, Rabbi Aryeh Levin, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. So when he and his wife were older, his wife had some problem with her leg. So they went to the doctor together. So Rabbi Aryeh Levin said to the doctor, he said, "My wife's leg hurts us." So it's told as a cute story, but it's much more than that. It's not just a cute story. It's the reality, and it's the reality that Rabbi Aryeh Levin lived. It was one. It was Adam, Vayikra et Shemam Adam. One young man once told me, he heard this story of Rabbi Aryeh Levin. He said, it's a beautiful story, very inspiring, we're all one. He said, ever since he heard that story, whenever his wife says that she's exhausted, he goes to have a rest. We're all one. So, yeah, you can get everything wrong, I guess. So I think that's what happens. At the beginning, we feel that shlimut. Although the first flush of romance isn't real, but perhaps it is that sensing that we really are one. That, wow, I found my other half. I've become an Adam. But then we begin to live together. And that's when the problem starts. Because we have expectations. Really quite impossible expectations. We want so much from our wives. We want her to be a good wife, a capable housemaker. We want her to be an understanding friend and confidant, an amazing mother, a talented hostess. We want the perfect balance as well. We want her to be talkative, but not too loud. You know, just get it right. Why can't you get it right? We want her to be soft. We all want a soft wife. But don't be soppy, you know? There's something in between. You want her to be energetic, but not tense. You want her to be beautiful, but refined. And the list goes on. And we drive ourselves crazy, and worse, we drive her crazy. And that's when we need to remind ourselves why we even got married. What marriage is. That's when we have to remember that true ahava is ahava she'ena tluya b'davar. Of course, there's so much to be grateful for. We owe our wives so much, and of course, there's so much good that we can and we must see in our wives. But the ahava is much deeper than that. It goes way beyond that. It's an ahava of being one neshama. difficulties. Because the Ahava is not about the detail. The Ahava is about that B'tziut. It's about that being one. And then we're able to forget. We forget all the details. We used to have a poster up in our house with a picture of a teddy bear. And it said, learn to love like a teddy bear, with arms outstretched and imperfect eyesight. You don't need to see, you don't see even. You know, there's an old story of a couple who were celebrating their 40th anniversary together. Very special occasion, a real milestone. They were having a quiet evening, sitting at the fireside together. And while they were talking and reminiscing, looking back over 40 years, so the husband, absent-mindedly, he took his glasses off as they were talking. So his wife said to him, she said, you know, without your glasses, you look just like you did on the wedding night. He said, you know what, dear, without my glasses, so do you. But that's a joke. But the truth is that when there's real ahava, then the details start to matter so much less. And it's more than that. It's not just they matter less. But if we really understand this, then we'll begin to appreciate that everything we have in our wife is exactly what we need. Ish and Isha together complement each other with an E. Sometimes with an I, but certainly with an E. It's interesting, many of the books on marriage, the secular books certainly, and even some of our books and Sfarim, they talk about marriage as if it's chalk and cheese. You're going to marry a woman and it's not going to be easy because women are so different. But if you'll have good midot, you'll work on yourself, then you'll learn how to tolerate all those differences. You'll put up with the differences. There's the famous book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's actually a very good book, but the title gives the impression that men are Martians and women are Venetians, whatever the word is. And it's a very strange idea, something that's evolved over time, that Martians and Venetians get together. But if you read this book, then we'll help you navigate through these differences. But the emes is so different. It's true that men and women are different. But they're two differences that go together more than any two things go together. They're not chalk and cheese. They're I don't know, gin and tonic or something. They're meant for each other. And every part of the woman is what I need, what I'm lacking. I sometimes say to the Khatanim, when I talk to them about how a woman is different, and that you have to be soft, and you have to be gentle. So I tell them, you know, when you're dating, you're looking for a shidduch, then if a prospective wife is a bit manly, is lacking femininity, then it's a put-off, something you don't want. You're looking for a woman because that's what you need. That's what you need for your hashlama. You're looking for someone who's going to be a woman. But then when you get married, you say, why are you behaving like such a woman? That's what you wanted, and that's what you need. But it's more than that. It's not just true that everything about an Isha, a woman, is exactly what an Ish needs. But everything about my Isha, your Isha, is exactly what I need, you need. Only Hashem Yitbarach is able to do this. We think we know how to do shidduchim. We're completely tapping in the dark. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows which two neshamot go together. And it can sometimes take many years, sometimes a lifetime, till we're able to see why dafka, the particular midot, the particular personality of my wife is exactly what I needed for my shlemut, my development. So when we understand that ahava is echad, when we understand that ish and isha together are two parts of a whole, so not only do the details not matter, but we begin to embrace the differences. We don't tolerate the differences, we embrace the differences. So that's ahava. That's the ahava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the ahava of ish ve'isha. The Torah gave us hilchot, taharat hamishpacha, that Bezrat Hashem, the Tzibur, is going to be studying over the next few weeks. And our Chachamim tell us it's kedei shetehei chaviva al ba'ala keshat knisata lechuppah, that she should be as beloved to her husband as when she entered the chuppah. Chazal aren't just talking about ensuring that pleasure continues. Chazal are telling us something much deeper. Chazal are explaining the Torah. The Torah is concerned that our relationship becomes chitzoni, it becomes external. And it becomes ahava shehi tluya b'davar. It becomes a love that's dependent on who she is, dependent on what she gives me, dependent on the detail. So the Torah says, she'll be asura. There'll be a tkufa, there'll be a period of time when there'll be less external. And you'll have the time, you and her will have the time and the space to see the person much deeper, to think about the achdut, to get back to true ahava, and then come back together like a chatan v'kala. Then we can fall in love all over again. That's what Chazal are telling us. Hilchot Nidah enable us to keep remembering that this relationship goes way beyond, is far deeper than any of the detail, than any of the experience on the shop floor. It's two neshamot together. And each time we refocus on that, each time we understand that better, we zocher, we merit once again to feel that love, that romance of Kesha'at knisata lechuppah. You know, love is a very powerful koach. It's something that breaks all barriers. Shlomo HaMelech in Shir HaShirim, when he speaks about love, he uses the most interesting description. He says, Ki azah kamavet ahava. Love is as strong as mavet, as death. It seems a strange way to describe ahava. Ahava is death. So I heard from one of my Rebbes, a great tzaddik, Rabbi Yaakov Motche Greenwald, in Yerushalayim. He said, you know, we go through life and we think we can work things out. We think, you know, we're in control. But everyone knows that there's one koach that we're completely helpless against. And that's mavet. That's death. When the malach hamavet comes knocking, then there's nothing we can do. There's no one who thinks he can beat the malach hamavet. Says Shlomo HaMelech, you know, there's one more koach in the world that is as powerful as Ahava. Ki azah kamavet Ahava. Ahava is as strong as mother. It's a power that you can't resist. When we give Ahava, we break all barriers. And when we give Ahava, we give the people we love so much power. I want to share with you something so beautiful. I heard it just a few days ago and I haven't shared it yet, but I asked permission to share it here because I think it shows us so clearly the ki azeh kamavet ahava. I imagine that some of the people of Gibraltar are aware that there is a famous doctor in Gateshead called Dr. Cope. He's a tzaddik and he's been serving the community for around 40 years, perhaps more, selflessly. And he just recently lost his wife. At a young age, she was 68, and she was ill for a short period, and she was nifteret. And it was a terrible tragedy. This Mrs. Cope was a mikveh lady. She was the lady in the mikveh. And she was a most beloved mikveh lady. There isn't a woman in Gateshead who didn't do everything she could to have Mrs. Cope. She had such love, such softness, such sensitivity. And in truth, the ladies themselves say they can't put their finger on it. They can't even express what it was, but it was a special experience. The women of town have been completely devastated over her passing. So I went to pay a Shiva visit. I sat with Dr. Cope. I said to him, you know, one looks for something to say. So I said, you know, the Pasuk says about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lecha dumiyat tehillah. To you, silence is your greatest praise. Dumiyah, because once you can say something, then it's less. The greatest praise is to say nothing. And I said the fact that all the women are saying Mrs. Cope was so special, but I just can't find the words. I can't explain it. I said that's her greatest praise. Lecha dumiyat tehillah. So he leaned over to me. I asked him permission. I said, I'm speaking about Ahava. Can I share this? He leaned over to me with tears in his eyes. He said to me, I haven't told this to anyone, but I want to share this with you because you deal with people. He said, I want to tell you her secret. He said, me and her, had a very special kesher. He said, I told her at least 12 times a day how much I love her. And he said, when you're loved like that, then you just radiate love. Ki azah kamavet ahava. There's nothing as powerful as ahava. And I'd just like to add, I saw in a sefer, I saw this many years ago and it stayed in my mind, that the greatest gift a man can give to his children is his love to his wife. When children grow up in a home of re'im ha'uvim, where the husband and wife are like the kruvim, mu'urim zeh bozeh, are truly one. That's the greatest gift we can give to our children. And so that's what we're here for. To be mechazek, this most beautiful, this most powerful koach. And through learning the halachot, dafka through learning the halachot, it's within the halacha that we'll find the depth, we'll find the understanding. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help from this tremendous chizuk. It's a kiddush Hashem. so many Yidden come together to build Mishpachot Adam Shelo Hasanu Velo Samanu K'Mishpachot Adama, to build Yiddish Mishpachot. So we'll have the Siyata D'Shmaya to have homes full of love, Ahava that will give us koach, will give our wives koach, will give our children koach. Homes full of Ahava, or homes full of Kedusha. And Bezrat Hashem, just as at the time of Gulat Mitzrayim, it was the homes that were saved, the Et Batenu Hitzil. So our homes will be saved. Our homes will be the ones that will be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu. And we will see the cue of the Pasuk, Yasis Alayich Elokayich Kimsot Chatan Al Kala.
Thank you all for coming. I think it's safe to say we're all very inspired right now. Thank you, Rabbi Miller, for agreeing to come and speak to us tonight. I'll see you all next Thursday night over here in the Leon's Hall, Bezrat Hashem, right after Mincha and Arvit at 10 to 7 p.m. where we're going to start with Rabbi Bay. We're going to have first a learning session, learning the beginning of Hilchot Niddah. There will also be other learning materials. Then Rabbi Bayos will give a presentation to start the halachot. Enjoy the cholent and the kugel, and again, thank you for coming.